And I'm Paula and we're from Alanda Craft.
And today we're going to show you how to make these awesome wall hangings.
Using the shapes and patterns in your Brother ScanNCut.
So let's get started. So here's what you'll need. We've cut two pieces of fabric, 17.5 by 15.5.
Yep, so it's for the front and back of this. So on these ones we've chosen the same fabric, front and back.
On this one we have contrasting fabric. Now to the back of our front piece we've ironed on a piece of fusible fleece.
Yeah, but you could use quilting batting or a medium weight interfacing, but we just like that nice soft sort of feel.
Okay, we need two pieces of contrasting fabric.
And these are for the strips here.
Okay, they are 12 by 6. And then we have our applique piece, and that's 11 by 8.
For these shapes here.
Now you're going to need some
tabs.
Tabs, yes.
Yeah, so these are for hanging the wall hanging.
And they are, we cut those at 11 by 3.5 and then fold them in half. Now we're also going to need our Brother ScanNCut applique sheet, and we want to cut two pieces that go behind our border pieces, so they will be 12 by 6.
Yep, and one for the
yep, and that's 11 by 8.
So we'll show you how to iron those on.
And do that. Now we also like to have a piece of cardstock, and we cut out our shapes on that first, and that allows us to just see how our design looks.
Yeah. So it stops us from wasting fabric first, you know, we can place these around and see what the best look is.
Yeah. So we'll get started. Now we need to iron our applique sheet onto the back of our material. So just make sure you've got the reverse side. I like to cut my sheets a little bit smaller than the fabric, just so that I don't get any overhanging which will then stick to your iron. Now to find the side that needs to go towards the fabric, look for the shiny blotchy bits on one side, and that's obviously the glue. The other side is matte. Okay, so I'll just take it over here now. Place our piece of fabric on top of our sheet. So there we go, so it's nice and firm and ready to go through the ScanNCut and to cut our border shapes. Now we're going to cut out our strips. So we have our Brother ScanNCut here and our standard sheet. So the standard sheet, it's got turquoise on the bottom, or turquoise on one side and purple on the other. Take off the protective sheeting, and we're going to attach our piece of fabric with the applique sheet attached. Now Brother advised that to take this off, but we actually find that that often sticks to our mat, so we leave it on. Make sure you press it on really, really well. Okay, use your little spatula. Nice and firmly attached. Okay, so let's turn on our machine to home. You always get this message, it's going to return the carriage to the right spot. We're going to choose a border. Now the border that we like is the one with the torn edges, so we just use that little down arrow to go down till we find it. So that one there, I'm going to leave it at the same size, but we do want 4, so I'll change the number here. Okay, and you can see that it's all going to fit nicely into this space. Okay, okay. Now just check my settings. So cut pressure is 4, put the speed up to 3. Don't like to have it too high for fabric because it tends to drag. Okay, all done. Okay, so now we've got, now our blade is on 4. Okay, so there we are, we have our 8 strips cut. And now we'll go and cut our applique pieces.
Okay, so now we're going to cut out the main applique shapes. So I've got my fabric on with the applique sheet attached already. I'm just going to pop it into the machine first. Load her up. Just make sure it's okay there. Now, I'm going to go to pattern. Select this one here and this one. I'm going to go with the star. You can choose any shape you like. And this first one, I'm going to up that to about 5. Yeah, and go OK. Alright, so that sets that one. OK. And set. Alright, so that gets me the first star. Now I want to add another one, but this time smaller. So I'm going to go add. And then I need to go back to pattern. And back where I was again. And choose that star again. This one I'm going to make smaller. Go about 3.5 here. Okay. Okay. Sets that one. Okay, so that's the second one. And I'm going to go with another one as well. This one I'll make smaller. The thing with this, you can play around, make them any size you want. Okay.
I want 2 of those.
2 of those, okay. Yep. That's it. Alright, so you see it's placed them nicely for me, but I could always drag them around by just selecting them and dragging them around if I wanted to place them. But I might just drag them down a little bit just to get them away from the edges, because it has a tendency to drag the material sometimes when they're too close to the edge. And what I'll also do, I'll show you, is how to scan this so you know that it's going to match your fabric on here. So all you do is press this button here, run it through, and what it will do is it will scan this piece of material on here so that I'll know exactly where to place those stars. You can see that there. You can see this one at the end is overlapping a little bit, so that would have been cut off. So let me just have a play around just to drag these around a bit. Drag this one in here. So that's looking a lot better. Okay. Give that a go. Okay, now we want to cut. And press the button here. And away it goes. Click OK now and press the eject button. Peel it off. Okay. You can see there we left the coating on, but we'll need to peel that off as well before we iron them on. But we'll leave them on for the moment. So you can see that they came out pretty well. So that's all you need to do there. So now we'll go on to the next step.
Okay, so now we're at the fun part. The first thing we're going to do is take all of the backing paper off here, so that we're just left with the sticky piece. And we're going to arrange these onto our piece of fabric. Now you can arrange them any way you like, it doesn't matter. I like this sort of stripped effect. Too many, but you could do them like this and just be a matter of cutting the strips. You can do something like that, sure. No hard and fast rule, this is whatever you feel like, but I'm going to place them how I like them, which is just in strips. So I'll go and do that now, and then we'll come back and show you what we do next to attach them. So now that I've got my pieces placed how I want them, I'm just going to simply iron them on. Remember, they have the sticky backing on already from the applique sheet. So I like to leave a gap around because I'm going to be sewing a seam of 1/4 inch seam all round, and then you really don't want them right up next to the edge, so I used to leave just a little bit of a gap. Just press and hold.
Okay, so now we want to sew these down. You can see I've already done some already. I've just sewn stitch all around, top stitch all the way around, and I've used a metallic thread. You can use whatever you like, but I quite like the metallic look. So I'll just show you how I do this one. You want your needle in the down position, so you can start with that in the down position. There you go. To the edge here, slow down a bit, and lift up your foot and bring it round. So begin here. Pivot round again. Okay, so lift up your foot. Make sure you leave some thread here, because what we're going to do is tie these off later. So you just continue on doing all your strips like that, and then we'll show you what to do next.
So now we're going to tie off our threads and neaten the front. As you can see, we've got loose metallic threads there, so we just turn our sheet of fabric over and we get our bobbin threads and give them a little bit of a tug. Take a pin and pull our metallic threads through, taking care not to split the thread, because otherwise you'll be left with half of it on the front. Okay, I'll just check that. So you can see we've got a bit of fluff there, which just, okay. So now we're going to tie off our threads, just using a simple knot. Right, so we've got all 4 threads there, so the 2 metallic threads from the front and our 2 bobbin threads. Just going to snip those off. Okay. Turn the fabric back to the front, and as you can see, it's nice and neat, no threads showing. Do the same thing now with our stars. So we've taken the white backing off, placed them where we want them and ironed them on. So now it's simply a matter of going and stitching around the stars, and then we'll be ready to put the whole thing together. So now we're going to make our tabs. Remember our 11-inch piece of material that we folded over and ironed. So we're going to now just sew a 1/4 inch seam down each long edge. Just make sure they're together. Do down the other edge. Okay, just snip a bit of that off if you wish. It doesn't really matter, because this is all going to get caught up in the in between the lining and the main fabric anyway. We just turn it through. So you do that with all 3 pieces. Okay, we'll just go and give it a bit of a press, and then we'll attach it to the wall hanging. Okay, so we're on the home straight now. We're going to attach our tabs. Now they're all nicely sewn and turned through. We're just going to fold them in half again, but we're not going to iron them because we want a nice soft fold there for where your piece of dowel goes through. And we're just going to line them up. Now I've made my markings 1.5 inches from the end, and then this is about 1 3/4 inches between the two. I've used a friction pen. They're brilliant, and the marks come off when you iron. Okay, so we'll just fold that in half, take the raw edges up to the fold that we'd made previously, and then pop it there on the mark. And the third one. Just going to pin them in place, just to hold them till I get the lining in place. Now these are ideal because you can make all sorts of wall hangings for all different occasions. You can make them for different seasons or for special occasions, such as a baby shower, or for his child's room with their name on. Got a little girl, you put one of the crowns from out of your ScanNCut. Could put a crown on the front. All sorts of ideas. Okay, now as I say, I'm the queen of pinning. I don't like eyeballing stuff. So I'll just pin that all together. We're going to leave a space to turn through. So I'll just come along here and place a pin to remind me where to stop. You can put the space in the sides, or you can put it at the bottom, which is what I'm going to do. Okay. And when I get to the top again, I'm just going to take out the pins that I've got in the tabs and just bring it over to the front, making sure that I sandwich in the tab between the lining and the main piece of fabric. You want to make sure you catch those, otherwise they'll fall out. Okay, so we're all pinned and we're ready to sew. So we're going to sew it together now. So remember, we left a pin here so that we know to leave a space. So I'm going to start in the middle and using a 1/4 inch seam, just going to sew it all together. It's just sewing over our tabs there, feel them underneath. I'm just sewing as far as the pin that shows where my opening starts or finishes.
Hold the button.
Okay, just a little bit of a back stitch on that one. Alright, so now then, you just clip your corners just to make sure that it turns through nice and neatly without clipping your stitching. Does that clear a bit of the bulk away in the corner? Here we go. Just going to turn it through. So we'll give it a press and then we'll come back and we'll top stitch. If you are a hand stitcher, then you can hand stitch that together. I'm not. I prefer not to hand stitch. I prefer to just top stitch things. So I will, as I say, give that a press and we'll come back and do the final touches. So now I'm just going to top stitch around and finish it off. I've rushed it a bit, but there we go. Alright, so we'll give it a final press and show you what the rest of them look like. Okay, so here's our final product, and doesn't it look great? I think it looks great. It's ready to hang on the wall, nice and bright. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love you to do that. We have more Brother ScanNCut tutorials on there. And you can also visit our website by clicking on the link below. Thank you for watching.